Hi, welcome back to Renee Ruth Music. Hope everyone is doing well.
Yeah.
Renee, how are you?
So much better.
I love that.
I've been like, I was just saying to Chad, I was like, you can go back and watch the last 4 months of podcasts. Just know that might not have been me.
Right. We're like
alien took
we're like
over my body.
We're like 100%. Oh.
There's one podcast where I'm fully with my shoulder.
Oh, right.
Podcast.
You're in the way.
And I will say, that's still a thing.
Yeah.
We're working on that.
We're working on it.
But cognitively, like I was in like November, December, I don't even remember. Did we do podcasts?
We did every week. Every week we did podcasts. We shot a lot. No, you were fine. It was fine.
Great. Okay, great.
Fine. They all turned out well.
No one knew. So great.
I think when you've been a professor as long as you have, like you can just talk. And
it's called performing.
Exactly. It
this
just
is a music
makes
podcast.
no difference.
I was just performing.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. you were just teaching.
It was fine.
It was good. So I went about 26 different ways with this podcast, and still not quite sure where we are, but we're just going to roll with it because I kind of had an idea, and then it went in a different direction, and we're going to it'll be fun.
You know what? Some of the best ideas, though, come from like a lot of that uncertainty.
Right.
Some of the best classes I ever taught. I didn't really know what I was doing when I walked in the door.
So we're actually an episode will spawn off of this because we don't have enough time to talk about
yeah, now I'm running my mouth today.
Right?
So yeah.
So today we're not going to talk about all of them because some of them aren't relevant, but the world's top 10 highest paid entertainers.
Whoa, 10's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have something to say about each of them.
But we're not going to talk about all of them because not all of them are in music. So I was trying to find the top ones for music.
Were we talking about this a couple days ago?
We were. So that's the episode that we're going to do is spawning off of this because we were talking about Phil Collins. Right? Remember?
Oh, I love Phil Collins.
And then what ended up happening is then I started looking him up, and then I was like, oh, there's so much here. We're going to have to wait.
Oh my God, Phil Collins is going to turn into our Cher situation.
Right. It's going to be a whole
and
episode.
our Dolly situation.
It's going to be a whole thing.
Wait, has Cher become a situation yet? Because we knew she needed to.
Well, we did part 1. We haven't done part 2.
We need another Cher. Okay.
We didn't need, So, and we did 2 on Dolly, which was very
and then we could keep going on Dolly.
Yeah. So, because what ended up happening was I had looked this up just on my own. It showed up in my feed, and I was looking through it, and I was like, wow, this is so crazy. And I had told you, I said, how on earth is the number 1? How are they in that position? Because it made no sense to me. So this will make more sense. But the number 1 top earner in entertainment was Genesis, which is the band that Phil Collins was a
Which
a
is
part
how
of.
like this is like 8 o'clock in the morning. So Chad throws this stuff at me like because he's already been up for like
I've been out hours. Yeah,
like,
hours.
He's literally like he's having lunch when I get here at 8, and he's like, "Oh my God, Renee, did you know Genesis is the top earner at how much?
$230 million
Last year,
2022. 2022.
So I said to Chad, I go, are they even still together?
Happening.
Like,
how is this even a thing?
Did they make an album? Are they like what?
Right?
Is Phil Collins still playing? Like
there were so many questions.
I was headed to the bathroom
there were so many
with
questions.
like 1,000. And also I say all those things to say I hope they are because I loved Genesis.
Right.
I love Phil Collins in Genesis.
Yeah.
We went on for a while that morning about how incredible his drumming is. And the fact that he can drum and sing, that's a rarity.
That is a
drumming
rarity.
and singing, look, I've tried.
I can't do it.
One, I'm not a great drummer, but 2, I don't know how you keep that rhythm and then have a very different melodic.
It makes no sense to me. I just can't. I can't even.
My
do
brain
it.
won't
I can't
put
process
that
it.
together. Yeah.
No. So what was interesting, what I did find is that so put this on. They got together in 1967. Did you know that's how long Genesis has been together? Yes, 1967.
That's like 11 years before we entered. I entered this earth in like.
I mean, so insane.
14 before you did.
Yeah, 1967. Is that not insane? I just.
Oh, Phil Collins, I'm so impressed with you.
I know. So yeah. So.
Well, okay. So now the big pressing question is, what did they do last year? Okay, is this supposed to be royalties?
So what it was, and so this is actually part of what we're going to talk about today. So they sold their music rights
last year
for $300 million.
Okay, what does that mean for them? So Genesis music rights. So Genesis has albums and albums and albums
So many
that
albums.
they owned.
Yeah.
They owned. So were anyone until last year to listen to their song, use their song, the royalties for that went to Genesis.
Went to Genesis, yeah.
And then last year
they sold it.
So now they own none of that music.
Correct. Yeah.
He can say like, well, everyone's gonna know it's Genesis.
Right. Everyone knows that it's them. And to be fair, I mean, they're like 100 each. So I mean, like, what are you holding? What are you? Phil Collins, we love you. I mean, I've been listening to you since I was in diapers. I mean, you're amazing. So, but what does he need to hold on to it anymore? So
that was a business move.
Yeah, it's just a business move.
Who bought it?
Concord Music Group bought it in September 2022. So, yeah, isn't that crazy?
Full catalog.
Full catalog.
For how much?
$300 million.
And they're the top earners at
$230 million. They're the top earners for 2022. Isn't that phenomenal? I mean, what a solid career that after all that time, all the royalties they've already gotten off of it.
I'm just thinking about the different icons in music. Like, so by iconic, I mean made numerous albums, have a catalog worth a lot, like Marvin Gaye,
right?
Who did not sell it. The family took it. But that's not because he didn't have the chances. He passed
right
before he would have had a chance to do it. Yeah, I guess at this point, Phil Collins is like, I want to hang out and play with my 300 mil before I exit this planet.
Well, because you also have to assume that Phil Collins didn't sell his, only Genesis. So
well, he went on to an independent,
because they all went on independently to make things on their own. So they're selling what they sold was just for Genesis.
But he would have had to have signed off.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Genesis
for any of that. Which I mean, that's the thing is that it's a group. So there's,
So he said that isn't that remarkable. So he just gave up the rights to Genesis, but he still has all his Phil Collins albums.
Right. So like he can still use all of his things. He's
still getting royalties off of all his stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you guys can have that.
Right. Well, exactly.
1967. Have fun.
There were so many members in that group. Like there was such like members that
changing hands.
like changing hands so many times.
As someone who's like starting to dip into that world, it makes me wonder those members who own Genesis. Like
right.
So by that I mean, like for example, if you listen to my last album, Chad's got NDAs out the yin yang.
Right.
Like all the people that were involved in the creation of the album, yet with these NDAs and with paying people or pro bono, whatever, that made the album, those NDAs mean they're just mine. So I would assume, based off of what you just said, that if they left, that they were signing that they would sign NDAs that they no longer were going to receive any rights to. I'm fascinated by the business side of music.
I really am
it
too.
It feels like this like vortex that that the average person doesn't understand, and since and Chad by proxy because he's like my best friend. So
yeah, I was gonna say,
like dipping into all this with me.
I
feel like we're at the edge of music business, and we're like this just dipping our toes in the water.
Kind of starting to find out.
We're like, ooh.
Well, I mean, we always knew it was complicated. We just didn't realize
the depths of it.
Yeah,
well,
like
and I
how
think
far it went.
As we've become more educated, we now like I don't know about you, but now I would have heard this and be like, well, that's a lot of money. Good for them. Now I have all these questions.
Right.
Because we've entered that other side, right?
What I do find fascinating is that this deal did not include the music of Peter Gabriel. So anything that they did with him was not a part of this deal.
Because Peter Gabriel probably said no.
Yeah. So also
can't sell it if he says no. That's the whole reason why I have to get everyone to sign NDAs. Because otherwise it's a co-ownership. Even if they've been paid, which we learned, you can be paid and still try and claim ownership. So if you don't have those NDAs, like thinking about going forward, if I was to ever team up with another artist, something to think about. Although evidently that catalog's still worth a whole bunch of money even without Peter Gabriel.
Oh, it is.
I love Peter Gabriel.
Obviously they still got $300 million for it.
I wonder the value of that. I wonder. So now let's dip into the business, right? So when you're looking to acquire a business, because let's call Genesis a business. When you're looking to acquire a business, you want to establish its value, its worth, the return.
Right.
Unless this is a collector.
Right.
Because the collectors are the only ones I know that are less concerned with the value of something and more concerned with its ownership.
Right.
Car collect like
Well, sure.
they tend to purchase valuable things anyway, but like it's more about its acquisitions. I don't know about that, but you're saying a music group. It sounds like they're in it for
Yeah,
the
I mean,
return.
I don't know Concord Music Group, but
There's another Google space.
Right,
Concord,
but-
what are you gonna do with it all?
seriously, but this seems to be a thing now because the number 2 is Sting. 210.
And is it because he sold
and
his?
it's because he sold his.